Start the book, The Way of the Superior Man.
It's wonderful.
The Way of the Superior Man, a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire, by Deida. Important caution. Although anyone may find the practices, disciplines, and understandings in this audiobook to be useful, it is made available with the understanding that neither the author nor the publisher are engaged in presenting specific medical, psychological, emotional, sexual, or spiritual advice. Nor is anything in this audiobook intended to be a diagnosis, prescription, recommendation, or cure for any specific kind of medical, psychological, emotional, sexual, or spiritual problem. Each person has unique needs, and this audiobook cannot take these individual differences into account. Each person should engage in a program of treatment, prevention, cure, or general health only in consultation with a licensed, qualified physician, therapist, or other competent professional. Any person suffering from venereal disease or any local illness of his or her sexual organs or prostate gland should consult a medical doctor and a qualified instructor of sexual yoga before practicing the sexual methods described in this audiobook.
You heard that.
With
If you got
deepest
some
gratitude
fucking
to the
STDs,
intimate
bro,
partners and
check that
teachers
shit
who
out.
have drenched my life with their love and wisdom. May this book serve the liberation of your true gifts, so that countless multitudes of beings may benefit even more from your living and loving. Preface to the 20th Anniversary Edition. Today, 2 decades after this book was first published, The Way of the Superior Man is more relevant than ever. New styles of sexual expression are emerging as old roles for men and women are rapidly dissolving. In this new world, women are taking the lead. Men, no longer the sole breadwinner or the most purpose-driven member of the household, are rediscovering their worth, both in the world and in relationship. When a man's value is no longer measured by what he does, by his finances or social standing, how does he determine his worth? In our new world, a man's presence, his depth of awareness, is his most valuable asset. A man's worth can be found in his depth of being. A shallow man, easily perturbed and swayed, is worth less to his woman and his world than a man whose presence is deeply sourced. A profound and steady gaze conveys truth more than furtive eyes. Full, even breathing is trusted more than shallow, jittery gasps. A man grounded in the unfathomable mystery of life, in touch with death's vastness rather than merely flitting from one busy surface activity to another, is sourced in his depth. The way of the superior man is the way of deep gaze, breath, and purpose. It cannot be faked. Right now, you are knowing who you are at depth, or you are avoiding it. You are relaxing and embodying your soul's purpose on earth, or you are resisting your calling. You are cultivating a steady yes toward this moment, even in the midst of death's ever-present mystery, or you are afraid to feel all and live as unknowable openness. Fear is lack of trust in now. Fear is saying no to some aspect of the present moment. The way of the superior man is the way of cultivating total trust in the reality that is living you right now. However vast it may be, reality is happening now, and it includes you. Feel what is, as it is, without resisting the boundless whole. Feeling all, saying yes to the entire now, you will know who you are. You will know yourself as the awake fullness of this entire moment, the very force of being. Identified with money or accomplishments, a man feels weak when he compares himself to others who have more. But when he knows himself to be self-radiant awareness, conscious and lit up, awakening as man, he blooms in perfect harmony with the immense energy of reality. The infinite force of now is his power and his presence. The way of the superior man is to realize your true strength by knowing who you are at depth right now. You learn to feel into awareness fully, so you know yourself as conscious presence. You grow to trust the alive fullness of this moment, appearing spontaneously as you and your experience. Your capacity to embody this profound force of presence in your gaze, breath, and action determines your perceived value, sexually and financially. Your woman and your world long for the authentic power of your awakened heart offered through your whole body. May your deepest gifts overflow in The Way of the Superior Man. Preface to the 2004 edition. Originally, I wrote The Way of the Superior Man as a practical guide for men and their intimate lovers. I wanted to share with readers the lessons I had learned in life, specifically how a man can grow spiritually while passionately tussling with the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire. Now, years later, after sharing this work with thousands of men and women, straight and gay, single and coupled, I can confirm that the lessons presented in these chapters really produce results. And in today's world of rapid sexual and spiritual evolution, and thus confusion, these lessons may be more relevant than ever. One of the more important lessons is this: as evolving human beings, we can learn that mastery is an important phase to accomplish and pass through in this school of life where we are learning to love more artfully. Through the way described in this audiobook, I have learned to love a woman into light, earn as much money as I want doing what I love to do, and master the arts of sexual loving. You can too. And then you will open to your next lesson, made possible by your real growth, just as you have achieved and outgrown all of your interests up until now. What you loved as a child is less interesting to you now as an adult, and what occupies your attention now will cease to sooner or later. This growth is both natural and good. We are designed to outgrow everything.
You know what's funny? Like, it's a bunch of books out there. Like the books on spirituality that I learned, like they truly wasn't spiritual books. Like there was books on like fixing your mindset. Oh, if you want a book on spirituality, the Convoluted Universe series, like that'll give you a broad. It talks about life after death. It talks about reincarnation. It talks about UFOs. Like it's all connected. Like people don't understand aliens or quote unquote aliens, extraterrestrials. That's all like got a spiritual. It's all spiritual. Like so, the Convoluted Universe is probably like a 5 book series. Uh, and it's a book called The Custodians, this is all written by the same person. So, The Custodians, The Convoluted Universe, and Life Before Death. It's written by Dolores Cannon. So, these are some these books are also neat. So, for the ones to fix your mindset, that's the books we always listening to. Like, so this is more of a spiritual book too. Like, so the one we tapping in tonight is gonna give you some spiritual information. But mindset books, Think and Grow Rich, Earl Nightingale's The Stranger's Secret, Outwitting the Devil. Like I can name books for hours. We'll be sitting here just talking about books.
Including our desire to experience and improve the realms of money, sex, and intimacy. The Way of the Superior Man shows you how a man and his lover can learn the lessons necessary to grow to the next step, where the mind opens as feeling and the body is only light. There's a way to grow through these lessons too, I'm told, but first things first. Live completely. Know your deepest purpose. Give the gift you were born to give. Enjoy sex as a cosmic portal into love's wonders. Serve your friends so they may grow, and through the inevitable cycles of breathtaking success and gut-wrenching despair, when you have mastered and outgrown the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire, be willing to forget you were ever born. Eventually, and I'm telling you in advance, just like I was told, the Way of the Superior Man renders obsolete everything that can be known or experienced. For now, start with what concerns you. I did. What my teachers in life required that I grow to understand. The path that worked for me as a man in a world of infinite possibilities is offered later in this audiobook. You will lay down your own path as you grow beyond your need to experience or know anything at all. So here's my summation for a new preface. Stop waiting. Feel everything. Love achingly. Give impeccably. Let go. Repeat with whatever remains as long as you are moved to do so. This way dissolves wide open. Introduction. This book is a guide for a specific kind of newly evolving man. This man is unabashedly masculine. He is purposeful, confident, and directed, living his chosen way of life with a deep integrity and humor. And he is sensitive, spontaneous, and spiritually alive, with a heart commitment to discovering and living his deepest truth. This kind of man is totally turned on by the feminine. He loves to take his woman sexually, to ravish her, but not in some old-style macho fashion. Rather, he wants to ravish her with so much love she is vanished. They both vanish in the fullness of loving itself. He is dedicated to incarnating love on this earth, through his work and his sexuality, and he does so as a free man, bound neither by outer convention nor inner cowardice. This newly evolving man is not a scared bully, posturing like some King Kong in charge of the universe, nor is he a new age wimp, all spineless, smiley, and starry-eyed. He has embraced both his inner masculine and feminine, and he no longer holds on to either of them. He doesn't need to be right all the time, nor does he need to be always safe, cooperative, and sharing, like an androgynous Mr. Nice Guy. He simply lives from his deepest core, fearlessly giving his gifts, feeling through the fleeting moment into the openness of existence, totally committed to magnifying love. To help illuminate the purpose of the way of the superior man, I will draw on a few principles of sexuality and spiritual growth which are developed in my book, Intimate Communion. Until fairly recently, modern roles for men and women were fixed and separated. Men were supposed to go out and earn money. Women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids. Men often manipulated their women through physical and financial dominance and threat. Women often manipulated their men through emotional and sexual strokes and stabs. The typical and extreme caricatures of this previous time are the macho jerk and the submissive housewife. If you are listening to this audiobook, you have probably outgrown this first stage of sexual identity, or at least you can smile about it.
Definitely
Next
outgrown.
came,
I
and
never
is
was
still
that
coming,
type of
a
man
stage in
anyway.
which men and women both sought to balance their inner masculine and feminine energies toward 50-50, becoming more like one another. For instance, in the United States in the 1960s, men began to emphasize their inner feminine. They learned to go with the flow. They let go of their rigid, one-dimensional masculine stance and embraced long hair, colorful clothes, nature, music, and a more carefree and sensual lifestyle, all means of embellishing or magnifying radiance, energy, and the abundant force of life, magnifying the feminine. Meanwhile, many women were doing just the opposite. They
Trying to
were
get
magnifying their inner
jobs,
masculine,
going to the
which, at the
military.
level of human character, appears as direction or clarity of purpose and vision. Women gained financial and political independence. They strengthened their careers, focused more on personal long-term goals, went to school in increasing numbers for advanced degrees, and learned to be more assertive in their needs and desires. Chances are, if you are listening to this audiobook, you are more balanced than your parents were. If you are a woman, you are probably more independent and assertive than your mother was. If you are a man, you are probably more emotionally expressive and open-minded than your father was. Or at least such qualities seem acceptable to you, even if you don't express them yourself. Remember, not that many years ago, a man who got his hair styled or a woman who wore a business suit was often considered suspect. It was a good thing as time progressed for men to embrace their inner feminine and women to embrace their inner masculine. They became less fragmented and more whole in the process. They became less dependent on each other. Men could indeed change diapers, and women were completely capable of emptying the mousetraps.
With
Macho men
seven
became more
kids, man,
loose
I
and
done
feeling.
changed more diapers than
Submissive
more women
housewives
out there,
became
than
more.
most women out there. Like I done changed every single last one of my kids' diapers. Like so, I'm pretty sure over fucking 12 years of having babies, I done changed more diapers than a lot of people out there. And never once was like that ain't no man's job to change no diaper. Like I never seen it like that.
More independent and directed. In terms of social roles, men and women became more similar. This was an improvement for everyone. But this 50-50 stage is only a second and intermediate stage of growth for men and women, not an endpoint.
I
Side
only got
effects of
one
this
pack of
trend
wraps,
towards sexual
babe. So I'm gonna
similarity
need
can be
you to
seen
probably
as
go
a
to the
major
store, babe,
cause of today's
or
unhappiness
7-Eleven,
and intimacy.
if you don't mind.
The trend toward 50-50 has resulted in economic and social equality, but also in sexual neutrality. Bank accounts are balancing while passions are fizzling out. Men are less macho while sex and violence continue to increase on TV and in the movies. Women are more in control of their economic destiny while they go in increasing numbers to therapists and doctors to cope with stress related disease. Why is this happening? In my workshops and consultations, I hear independent and successful women complaining that many of today's men have become wimps, too weak and ambiguous to really trust. Sensitive and affectionate men are complaining that many of today's women have become ball busters, too hardened and emotionally guarded to fully embrace. Is this the ultimate expression of human sexual wisdom and evolution? Or is there another step to take? To answer these questions, we need to understand the nature of sexual passion and spiritual openness. Sexual attraction is based on sexual polarity, which is the force of passion that arcs between masculine and feminine poles. All natural forces flow between two poles. The north and south poles of the earth create a force of magnetism. The positive and negative poles of your electrical outlet or car battery create an electrical flow. In the same way, masculine and feminine poles between people create the flow of sexual feeling. This is sexual polarity. This force of attraction, which flows between the
Hey,
two
shout out
different
to
poles of
Mariana the Great
masculine and feminine,
coming through once
is the
again.
dynamism that often disappears in modern relationships. If you want real passion, you need a ravisher and a ravishee. Otherwise, you just have two buddies who decide
Show.
to rub
Hey,
genitals
that's
in
what this
bed.
book club is all about.
Each of us,
Books and blunts. That's what it's all about, baby.
man or woman, possess both inner masculine and inner feminine qualities. Men can wear earrings, tenderly hug each other, and dance ecstatically in the woods. Women can change the oil in the car, accumulate political and financial power, and box in the ring. Men can take care of their children. Women can fight for their country. We have proven these things. Just about anyone can animate either masculine or feminine energy in any particular moment, although they still might have a strong preference to do one or the other, which we will get to in a moment. The bottom line of today's newly emerging 50-50 or second stage relationship is this. If men and women are clinging to a politically correct sameness, even in moments of intimacy, then sexual attraction disappears. I don't mean just the desire for intercourse, but the juice of the entire relationship begins to dry up. The love may still be strong, the friendship may still be strong, but the sexual polarity fades. Unless, in moments of intimacy, one partner is willing to play the masculine pole and one partner is willing to play the feminine. You have to animate the masculine and feminine differences if you want to play in the field of sexual passion. This is true in homosexual as well as heterosexual relationships. Actually, the gay and lesbian community is acutely aware that sexual polarity is independent of gender, but you still need two poles for a passionate play of sexuality to persist in a relationship, masculine and feminine, top and bottom, butch and femme, whatever you want to call these reciprocal poles of sexual play. It is up to you. You can have a loving friendship between two similars, but you need a more masculine and a more feminine partner in the moments when you want strong sexual polarity. It doesn't matter if both partners are men or both are women. It doesn't matter if in a heterosexual relationship the man plays the feminine pole and the woman plays the masculine pole. It doesn't matter if you change every day who plays the masculine pole and who plays the feminine pole. For sexual polarity, you need an energetic polarity, an attractive difference between masculine and feminine. You don't need this difference for love, but you do need it for ongoing sexual passion. For some people who have what I call a more balanced sexual essence, sexual polarity doesn't really matter. They don't really want much passion and intimacy. They don't want a loving tussle of full sexual inspiration and innuendo. They would rather have a civilized friendship full of love and human sharing without the passionate ups and downs. And for these people, this audiobook will be irrelevant, possibly even offensive. This book is written
You get
specifically
offended
for
from this
people who
book?
have a more masculine sexual essence and their lovers who will have a more feminine sexual
You ain't
essence,
supposed to be
since
here.
you always attract your sexual reciprocal. These people can't help but be attracted into relationships based on difference, for better or for worse. Your sexual essence is your sexual core. If you have a more masculine sexual essence, you would, of course, enjoy staying home and playing with the kids. But deep down, you are driven by a sense of mission. You may not know your mission, but unless you discover this deep purpose and live it fully, your life will feel empty at its core, even if your intimate relationship and family life are full of love. If you have a more feminine sexual essence, your professional life may be incredibly successful, but your core won't be fulfilled unless love is flowing fully in your family or intimate life. The mission, or the search for freedom, is the priority of the masculine, whereas the search for love is the priority of the feminine. This is why people with masculine essences would rather watch a football game or a boxing match on TV than a love story. Sports are all about achieving freedom, such as breaking free of your opponent's tackle or a barrage of punches, and about succeeding at your mission by carrying the ball into the end zone or remaining standing after 10 rounds. For the masculine, mission, competition, and putting it all on the line, indeed facing death, are all forms of ecstasy. Witness the masculine popularity of war stories, dangerous heroism, and sports playoffs. But for the feminine, the search for love touches the core. Whether on soap operas, in love stories, or talking with friends about relationships, the desire for love is what appears in feminine forms of entertainment. The feminine wants to be filled with love, and if the bliss of real love is not forthcoming, chocolate and ice cream or a good romantic drama will do. The masculine wants to feel the bliss of a life lived at the edge, and if he doesn't have the balls to do it himself, he'll watch it on TV, in sporting events and
Those
cop
motherfuckers
shows.
ain't got the balls to do it themselves.
Even happy and fulfilled men and women find it enjoyable to watch sports and eat ice cream, of course. I'm just trying to make a point. Even though all people have both masculine and feminine qualities that they could use at any moment, to kick corporate ass or nurture children, for instance, most men and women also have a more masculine or feminine core. And this shows up in their regularly chosen entertainments as much as in their preferred sexual play. Think about it. Would you rather that your sexual partner was physically stronger than you, or would you prefer to feel your lover's physical vulnerability? Which would turn you on more? To pin your
Man,
partner on the bed below you?
if my wife in here, but like for real, like this the book. This ain't no person shit. A bitch stronger than me in bed, but hell no, that shit ain't gonna work. Fuck that shit. I don't need no bitch pinning me down. Not to say women are bitches, but like just the term, like just that's the way it came out. Fuck that shit.
You, or to be pinned below your partner? To be swept off your feet by a sensitive and strong lover, or to feel your lover surrender, swooning in your arms? You may want both at different times, but most often, which turns you on more? Or does each of these alternatives turn you on just the same? That is, are you just as turned on by a sexual
Motherfuckers like
partner
them
who
a
is
strong
physically
bitch
weaker
though.
than you as by one who is stronger, or
Okay.
exactly the same strength? Most people, about 90% in my experience, seem to have a definite preference. They definitely either prefer that their partner kills the cockroach crawling toward them, or they're fine with doing the crunchy job themselves,
I would kill the motherfucking
perhaps with sporting
cockroach
fervor.
all day.
Most people clearly favor watching a romantic love story on TV to a bloody boxing match, or vice versa. They might be able to enjoy both at times, but their core becomes more emotionally involved in one or the other. If you have ever seen a group of masculine people watching a Super Bowl game, you know just how emotional the masculine core becomes while beholding a good mission of people living at their edge and giving their gifts, or getting slaughtered for failing. So, about 90% of people have either a more masculine or a more feminine sexual essence. Passionately, lovingly, and fiercely, they would like to be ravished by or to ravish their intimate partner at least some of the time, in addition to having a loving friendship. This holds true for homosexual and heterosexual people alike. About 10% of people, men and women, heterosexual and homosexual, have a more balanced essence. Boxing
You
matches
know what's
and love
crazy?
stories equally make
What
them
I learned
emotional,
about
or not.
gay people getting lesbians at first, like without understanding, I used to just think like, oh man, dating a man, like that's weird. But I wasn't thinking like, oh, one of those men is more feminine and the other man is more masculine. They're still attracted to men. Just the same with women. Like my sister-in-law, she's more masculine than her partner. So like, even though they're dating the same gender, like it's all about energy. It's not about the fucking flesh. It ain't about, because what I learned in my spirituality journey, you could be a man in this life and you could be a woman in the next life, and you'll still be attracted to men. I mean, or well, if you're a man in no, you'll be attracted to them. My bad. You could be a man in this life, and your next life you reincarnate. You could be a woman, and you'll still be attracted to women. Like, and then that'll make you gay. But the only reason that would happen to you is because you judged gay people. You hated them. Like you was disgusted by them. Me, like, that never been an issue with me. Like my baby sister was gay, so I was always cool with it. Plus, I'm a polygamist, man. Like, so if my woman was to like another woman, I wouldn't mind. My wife don't, but still, like, hey.
It doesn't really matter to them whether their lover is physically stronger or more vulnerable than them. Sexual polarity just isn't that important to them, in relationships anyway. Regardless of gender or sexual orientation, if you want to experience deep spiritual and sexual fulfillment, you must know your natural sexual essence, masculine, feminine, or balanced, and live true to it. You
Mine's
can't
is
deny your
dumb.
true sexual essence by covering
Most
it with
men,
layers of false energy.
they operate only in their masculine. That's why they don't believe in spirituality like that. They don't believe in numerology, horoscopes. They don't like to read like that. They're more feminine things. Me, I've always been balanced. That's why I don't really like to work out, but yet I'll still play sports. I'll play basketball. My screen, I'm watching me on the live on my screen, and that mug kind of zoomed in. I don't know what the fuck going on. So is my video showing clear to y'all? Let me just restart it and see how it's. Yeah, it's tripping on here. I don't know why. Can y'all see me clear? Or y'all can't see that. It's tripping. All right. Hey, shout out to Brian for like donating to the channel. The first person actually. Hold on, y'all. It's still tripping. I don't know why. My phone not tripping. It's like I don't know what the fuck it is. My camera must be tripping or something. Can y'all hear me clear though? Mm-hmm. I have to end the live and just come back in here. I hate having to do that shit, but yeah, I'm about to end this live and then we about to start it over. I ain't gonna start the book over, but I'm gonna just start the live over. So I'm gonna just